Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It is Father Son Galaxy. I am Kerwin, and this is Keith.
Hey.
We thought we'd come on and talk about a movie that opened 10 years ago. And I think I'm going to make the argument that this is probably the most important Marvel movie that we have seen. All right. And I'm going to explain why. I don't know if you, I know that's a big statement I'm making. I don't know if you agree, but we can talk about it. But we are talking about Captain America Civil War 10 years later. This film opened up on May 6, 2016. All right. And people are still talking about this film, especially since we are still looking ahead to Avengers Doomsday. I don't know why Endgame is in my head. Well, they're going to re-release Endgame anyway, so that's a long story. Yeah, but we're looking ahead to Avengers Doomsday, and I think a lot of what we're going to see in that film has already been set in Captain America Civil War. So we're going to talk about that. Thank you for joining us. If you're on the live stream or if you're watching us or listening to us later, just thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate it. All right. So this movie, let's go back. 2016, this movie was directed by Joe Russo and Anthony Russo, screenplay by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. Now, it's not the first time that we've had multiple superheroes in one movie, right? Because we had the Avengers film that came out a few years before that, 2012, right? And Age of Ultron. But something about this is different because this had, I counted, I don't know if you agree with me, 12 superheroes in this one film. Now, and that's just the superheroes. That's not counting supporting characters or anybody else, just 12. All right. That's a big deal. When you have a cast that large, it can be very difficult to actually create a story around them. Yeah. Right. All right. And I think what, I've seen this movie, many times, and I wrote down some keys, I think, that made this movie very, very effective. Now, of course, the script, let's start there with the screenplay. I thought the screenplay was actually very well done. All right. So that's part of the reason why I think this movie works so well. But some of the keys I wrote down is putting characters in high stakes situations. Yes. We absolutely see that in this film.
Isn't it wild that nobody on the heroes team died?
That is true. But that was not the goal, right? I hope not. Well, no, you're right. No one died. I think they were planning ahead for that. That, this was setting the stage for tragedy, that type of tragedy. But speaking of tragedy, we do see characters in this film experience a lot of tragedy or trauma, right? I agree. If you agree with that. Yeah, I do. And then we also, because this is a civil war, civil war, there has to be, okay, there are two sides to the story. And what was nice about it, that each character had to take a stand, and we had to realize what stand each character was taking. They had to somehow, either through words or action, had to set where they stood on certain situations. All right, because this is a civil war, and we'll talk about what the Civil War is about. All right. Now, when you have, again, so many characters, 12 superheroes, how many number of superheroes you have in this story, you have to really pinpoint the story. The story has to revolve around maybe 1 to 2 or 3 characters. Okay.
And it does.
And it does, right? And those 3 characters are Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, and Bucky Barnes. Do you agree? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And the reason why is you can tell in this movie that a lot of the decisions or the actions or the words that they say really drive the story.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's start with the pre-opening credits. Okay. So speaking of one of the primary characters, so Bucky Barnes, right? This starts off in 1991. Bucky is being tortured, and he's being brainwashed. Okay. There's these words that trigger him. All right. So I had to write them down. So it was longing, rusted, 17, daybreak, furnace, 9, benign, homecoming, 1, freight car.
All in Russian, by the way. I want to
Yes.
get my hands on that book just to see what would happen.
But none of those words have any, if you put them all together, there's no
It doesn't make
relationship
any
to what,
sense.
yeah, it's just, I don't even know how they chose these words, but it doesn't seem like there's any type of
I mean, the
connection to them.
freight car. I'm pretty sure Bucky got like thrown off a freight car. Because you remember in first Avenger when he like fell.
That's true.
Yeah, so that
Okay.
might be it. I don't
Okay.
know about the rest of these. I'm sure I could figure out a connection eventually.
I'm wondering, there probably is one, and I'm sure if anyone who's watching this or listening to this can tell us
It's been 10
if,
years. I
if
hope
there is,
somebody's got to it.
yeah, if there is some type of connection to these words. All right, but these are the words that trigger him, and what it does is what we're going to find out next. So, um, it sets him up to be this machine, this killing machine. Then the next scene is the setup, meaning this is the setup for what this movie is about. Okay, well, what happens, what he does in this setup actually impacts what happens later on in the film,
Yeah.
right? The payoff.
Quite massively, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we see that scene where he is driving on a motorcycle. There's this car. He fires at the tire, blows out the tire. Car flips over, I believe, or it crashes to the side. And then, you just see him going. We don't know who's in the car, but we know that he is, whatever he's doing. I don't know. Those two people are whoever was in the car. I can't say two people. Um, may not have survived. But we did see him go into the trunk, and he opened up, and I believe there was a super soldier serum that was in the trunk. Okay, trunk of the car. So that's what he needed. So that was his mission, to get this serum, and that's all we know. That's a great setup. Thank you, Keith.
Let's
Okay.
get to the film.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's the pre-opening. Okay. All right. So, all right. Now, after the credits roll, we're in Lagos, right? This is a city in Africa, I believe.
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay, in Nigeria. This is present day, and then the
So
cap.
2016.
Yes. So Captain America and his team are out there. They're targeting terrorists, carrying this biological weapon, and things go horribly wrong.
Yeah, so you know that guy that Cap dropped a building on in the Winter Soldier? So he came back and he had a bomb, right? So he was gonna blow out Steve, but then Wanda kinda like put a force field around him and she threw him, but she threw him into a building and that building collapsed and killed a bunch of people.
Yes, inside the building.
Yeah.
And of course, she didn't do it intentionally. And I think she just, because she's so powerful, Wanda, she caused a lot of deaths. And it took everybody by surprise, especially her. And she was devastated when she saw what happened. And Cap saw it, and Black Widow was there, and Sam Wilson. So everyone is stunned. Again, tragedy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then, in addition to Steve Rogers experiencing that tragedy, he also loses the love of his life, or a person who was very important to him in his life, Peggy Carter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's having quite the week.
Yes. Okay. He's having quite the week. And we know Peggy Carter is from his past. And, at this point, because of, he's been frozen, cryogenics.
Yeah,
Is
like
that what it's?
70 years
Yeah.
on ice.
Yes. So Peggy apparently, of course, was not. And so she died of old age. And so he has to grieve the loss of this person that he really didn't get the opportunity to even spend time with.
Which, I mean, that's gotta suck.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. So all right. So we got Steve Rogers' story going. We got Bucky's story. And then now the third person is Tony Stark.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the movie opens up with Tony giving an MIT presentation. And there's what would you call it? A AI, or maybe just a computer generated
Yeah, barf.
version. BARF. Okay. Yes. Do you remember what BARF stands for?
Binarily augmented retroframing.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So he's giving a presentation. So we're seeing a young Tony Stark with his parents, and he's has a falling out with his dad. Their relationship was not always the best, but his mom was kind of the one to try to keep them together, the two of them together. And you could tell how much he loved his mother. All right, so we get to meet, the Starks, Howard, and I'm sorry, I don't remember his mother's name, but Maria Stark. We get to meet his parents, which is very interesting. Okay, I don't. You have to remind me. I don't know. Have we met his parents before this movie?
I think they were in the first couple of Iron Man,
Okay, okay,
like in flashbacks and stuff. I know Howard was in the second.
okay, okay. So we are watching his mom and dad in this video, and he's giving his presentation. And he is MIT. I mentioned MIT, and he's actually, um, you know, he loves this university. He was a student there, and he gives away scholarships to the kids there, and they're having a great time. After the presentation, this was a good moment. He goes down a hall to take an elevator, and we see a woman standing there.
Mariah Stokes.
Yeah, well, she wasn't playing Mariah Stokes, but it was the great Alfred Woodard, fantastic actor, who's been in the business for many, many years. And the two of them have a conversation. And if you remember the things that Tony has been through up to this point, like the tragedies he's seen, and with getting the becoming Iron Man and getting the suit, and you know what the events that took place in Iron Man and Iron Man 2 at this point. I mean, he's seen a lot.
He's going through it.
He's going through a lot. And you can see there's a little bit of paranoia. And it happened very quickly. You probably would have missed it, but that's what great writing is about. There's just a moment where this woman is talking about the loss of her son, and she goes into her purse, and he's thinking that she's gonna like get a gun and fire at
She's
him.
gonna shank him.
Right. Yeah. And he grabs her hand and said, whoa, 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 don't do that. And she's just, okay, well, let go. I'm just pulling out a photo of my son.
Which is sad, very
Right.
sad.
And her son apparently died in that Lago incident that just happened. No,
No, it was when they dropped the city.
Right. So that was in
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. Okay. Yeah. So Sokovia. It was a Sokovia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Right. So her son.
When the fastest man alive got shot.
Yes.
Why did we let Quicksilver do that?
Okay. All right. So her son died in Sokovia. Okay. And the Avengers were there. And that took.
She's mad, obviously.
Yes. Yes. She's very, very mad, very angry. She's a grieving mother. And Tony took that to heart. Okay. So now we've got 3 stories together, 3 of our major characters. We got Tony's story so far, about, maybe reminiscing about his parents, and also meeting this woman who lost her child in Sokovia. And we got Cap with the tragedy that happened in Lagos. And now you have Bucky Barnes, who is being brainwashed.
And everybody's struggling.
Right. And set to do something unspeakable. Okay. So now let's talk about the Sokovia Accords. This is very important scene in the movie. This is Secretary of State Ross. Yeah. Right. And yes, and he has a sit down with the Avengers, or at this table. They're in the meeting room, and he shows them the tragedies that the Avengers have caused over the years.
New York was kind of their fault because they sent a nuke into the city.
When you say their fault, whose fault? The government's fault. Okay. Shield. Okay. All right. Well, I think New York was one of the places that he showed on camera.
Yeah.
Right. And he also told them about Sokovia, showed them a couple of things that happened there, and then Lagos. All right. All this tragedies that's been happening in the last few years.
No problem.
Yes. And he point blank tells them, these enhanced individuals are considered vigilantes and dangerous. And there's too much destruction. So they come up with something called the Sokovia Accords, which was approved by 117 countries, and which in a sense means that the Avengers are no longer independent, but are operating under the supervision of the United Nations. And if the Avengers do not agree to follow the Accords, they must retire.
Forcefully.
Yes. Now, what this means is, of course, if they decide to follow the Accords, they have to give up.
They get the white tiger treatment if they don't.
Yes, right. They have to give up their identity, right?
In both ways.
Well, explain that.
because he revealed his identity in court, right?
Yes, right, yeah.
And then he got shot.
Okay, all right, but tie that tie
The
that
point
into
is,
what's
if
happening
they
to the
didn't
Sokovia.
register and they tried to do superhero stuff, the government was gonna, remove them.
Exactly. Right. I hear what you're saying. Right. So they're being very nice. They say you have to retire. Okay. If you don't want any trouble with the government, you must retire. If you decide to not follow and you still want to break the rules, then yes, your life could be in great danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Tony Stark, after the events of the day, is obviously pro Accords.
Yeah.
So, and his identity is public, so this is easy for him.
Good point. And for, well, Steve Rogers, is his identity public?
Yeah.
For the most part, right? I think it's clear that most people know that he's Captain America. Okay. I don't know. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's public.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So definitely we do know this. At least Tony, we all know that he's Iron Man. But I think so far, this is a great setup, okay, for where this movie's going to go. All right. So now we were talking about this conversation that the Avengers are having. And Tony immediately shows them a picture of this little boy that was given to him by Alfre Woodard, the actress who gave him that photo, and he says, "This is what we did. He died because of us, right?" And what was Cap's stance on this? Well, and remember when I went back and said, "Okay, well, this is a movie where these Avengers have to take a stand because that's what this story is
Yeah.
about, right? So you're either going to follow the Accords or not." Okay, so the story had to let us know, okay, well, which way are these characters, these superheroes are going to go? Okay, so Vision says, our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict, and conflict breeds catastrophe. Oversight is not an idea that can be dismissed out of hand. So that sounds to me that he's looking. Why do you have that face?
It's always Vision that's doing something dumb.
No, well, it's not dumb. He's taking a stand.
He's taking his turn.
Well, okay. The writing, right? Okay, so based on what he said, you clearly know, okay, he agrees with these Sokovia Accords.
He's a robot. It makes sense that he would go with the most illogical decision.
Okay, all right. But he took a stand. Okay. Tony says we need to be put in check. If we can't accept limitations, if we're boundaryless, we're no better than the bad guys. That's Tony's stance. Captain America says if we sign this, we surrender our right to choose. The safest hands are still our own.
Yeah, he's got a point.
Here we go. I think both sides have a point.
Because it's like, if you gotta wait for the government to say you can go save people, by the time you get there, the damage could already be done.
Yeah.
Or the situation could have got worse. Like, imagine there's a robbery, right? And you gotta ask the government to go stop the robbery, and by the time you get there, they're already gone, and there's $50,000 that are like missing.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. All right. And then eventually we find out that Tony, Rhodey, and Vision all sign. Okay. Clint retired. Clint said, I don't want none of this. Well,
Every time I see him, he's retired.
I don't want no parts of this. I'm retiring. I'm out. Wanda to be determined. That's interesting.
She's on the fence.
She's on the fence. Okay. All right. This is wonderful. I mean, just think about how in the first half hour of this movie, we know exactly what's going on. We know why it's going on. We know where the stakes are, and we know who our leading characters are.
Yes, true.
Yeah. So
Quite interesting.
yeah, I don't think there's a better setup for a Marvel film, which is part of the reason why I believe this is very important, right? And
Yeah.
this is going to set the stage for what we're going to see with Doomsday. All right. Let's talk about two new characters. Okay. All right. Not only do we get this rift between the Avengers that we know, we're introduced to two new characters, at least on film. All right. Black Panther. Okay. So prior to Civil Wars, let's talk about Chadwick Boseman. He is a great actor, as we know. So prior to playing T'Challa, he was playing a lot of icons, American icons. All right. He was Jackie Robinson in the movie 42. He played James Brown in Get On Up. Um, this was interesting. Boseman did not audition for the role. He was offered the part.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I see why.
Tell me why. Why do you think?
I mean, like, think about it. In 2016, who would have played a better Black Panther than Chadwick Boseman?
You know, you have a good point. Um, yeah, I'm thinking right now. I'm going through my head of the actors at that time who may have been yes eligible or right for the part. But that I find that one kudos. You know, if you're an actor who is that good that you no longer have to audition for a role, that the producers, whoever, decided that he was great for that role, offered you that position, that really means something. That is a feather in an actor's cap. Just, talking about Star Wars briefly, when we interviewed Billy D. Williams, I asked him the question of, why did, same thing happened with Billy D. He did not have to audition to play Lando. And I asked the question to Billy D, and I said, well, why did George Lucas choose you of all the other actors to play Lando? And his response was, Billy D's response, because I'm charming.
Exactly.
Yeah. And he is. But the point is, he had clout that, okay, this actor would make the perfect whatever. This actor would make the perfect Lando. Chadwick Boseman was the perfect T'Challa. Okay. All right. And Boseman brought such authenticity to the role. Like he even spoke with an accent that he continued to use while he was off camera. So he came up with an accent that he wanted to, T'Challa to have, and to stay in character, even when the cameras were not rolling.
It's a tough accent, by the way.
Yeah, he kept with the accent. He kept up with the accent.
So he was method acting.
Yeah, yeah. And he was actually taught an African language by John Kanai, who played his father. All right, he was T'Chaka. He was taught this African language. And then, so let's talk about how we meet Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, in this film. It's a wonderful moment. This is the way to introduce a character for the first time on film. So we're at the United Nations building, right? And the camera shows the back of Chadwick Boseman's head. And you just see him, he's looking over, whatever he's looking at.
He's
and
looking
then,
at Black Widow.
was he? I don't remember that. And then, okay, and then he turns around and it's just, that's a star. He didn't say anything yet. Didn't say one word in this film. It's just the way he just turned around and faced
silent intro.
us. So cool. Yes, yeah. So it was fantastic. Yeah, he looked like royalty. He was dressed in a suit. Yeah, I don't know what more you can say about that. That's star quality. And so he is. So it's not the United Nations. So he is in Vienna with his father, King T'Chaka.
Yeah, I think it was like a UN hearing.
It was a UN hearing in Vienna. Okay, and they're there to witness the ratification of the Sokovia Accords, which we just talked about. Okay, so
doesn't go so well.
Well, no. And the king is at this point is giving a speech, and then there's an explosion. There's a bombing, and
the king is dead.
T'Chaka, unfortunately, is a victim. He loses his life, and then we see his son come to comfort him, but his father's gone.
Yeah, I mean,
his father is gone. Right.
And guess who's to blame?
Right. And why? Tell us who and why is this person
Bucky.
To blame? Why Bucky?
Because he got framed.
Well, okay. So what happened? So we saw this person. I guess there's this video camera of a person with long hair wearing a baseball cap that looked like Bucky.
It was Bucky, like, to everybody except Steve, because Steve is the only one that knows Bucky. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else thought it was Bucky. It's not.
Oh, right. That's what I'm saying. Right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm saying it weird, but you know what I'm saying.
No. It looked like someone was dressed as Bucky. And from the look of it, we think it's Bucky, right?
He was an impersonator.
But it was an impersonator. Yeah, which we find out later in the movie. But but you have a good point there. But Cap felt Bucky wouldn't do anything like this, right?
Yeah,
This
'cause
is
he
not
knows
something Bucky would
Bucky.
do because they're buddies.
Have you seen that one video of that Michael Jackson impersonator looking at the other Michael Jackson impersonator? Like
No.
he's the real Michael Jackson.
Oh, is this
I
a
gotta
real?
show you that. Off camera, I gotta show you that. It's really funny.
Okay, all right.
Back to this.
Yeah. And once again, we talked about tragedy. Okay. T'Challa just witnessed his father dying in front of him, and now he wants revenge.
On Bucky,
Okay. All right.
young guy.
Well, yeah. Well, that's how the press identified him as, this is Bucky Barnes, and he's dangerous and he's out there. He's the one that caused the bombing. Okay. All right. So now we got T'Challa introduced. Let's talk about the next character.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Okay.
Tom Holland.
You are a huge Spider-Man fan. All right.
That's
okay.
correct.
All right. Tom Holland, only 18 years old. Perfect age to play a high schooler. Peter Parker. It wasn't, like 20, 30-year-old playing a high schooler. We didn't want that. He was a high schooler. Okay. His background, Tom Holland, is dance, theater, and gymnastics. Gym, theater, and gymnastics.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So he's literally got like the flipping and twirling that Spider-Man does.
Absolutely. That's half the battle, right?
He did a lip sync battle with Zendaya.
Oh, that was wonderful. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He was dancing.
Now, what's different about his role, versus Chadwick Boseman, Tom Holland did have to audition, and that's because he's new. He's a new actor.
Did you know they gave him a suit with raised webbing on set?
No. What does that mean?
Like, how the Toby suit had like the raised webbing?
Oh,
like
okay.
That, except it was black.
While he was auditioning, you mean?
No, when they were filming.
Oh, okay.
I think they like edited it in post, CGI and stuff.
Oh, I see. So you're talking about the time when Tony came to see him in his room?
No, like with the fight scenes at the airport.
Oh, the fight scenes. Okay.
They had him in a suit with raised webbing, and then they CGI'd it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Flat. I don't know why. I think the raised webbing would have been cool, but
Okay.
Who am I?
Okay. All right. So again, Tom Holland, brand new actor. So of course he had to audition, along with 1,500 other people. Yes. And as far as tragedy, we already know Spidey's backstory because we've seen it in prior movies that he did lose his Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
All right. So
confirmed it in What If.
Right. And we didn't need to see it again in this movie because we knew that he lost his Uncle Ben. But we know that he will face more tragedy as time goes by. Yeah.
Spider-Man can never be happy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You're right.
So Tony Stark decides to go draft a 15-year-old into his war.
Yeah.
Wow, what a guy.
18.
He was 15.
In the movie?
Peter was 15, yeah.
Peter was 15 in the movie. Okay. All right. Tom Holland was 18. Okay. Well, okay. That's a good point. Bring that up. Well, why would Tony, risk his reputation on a 15?
He really needed the help.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, explain what. Well, what was it about Spidey or Peter Parker that impressed him so much that he wanted him to join his team?
I don't know. He had potential. His ass.
Okay.
Also, he's Spider-Man. Could you imagine if you found like some random like kid? Like it had to be Spider-Man because what other hero fits that kind of role? Actually, now that I think of it, both teams had a bug-related character that they drafted that was like the last one picked to the team because Cap had Ant-Man and Tony had Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Yeah. That's a very good point. Right. So, all right. So Tony knew about this young man with superpower abilities. He can climb on walls. So he goes and visits him, and we see a new Aunt May, played by Marissa Tomei, a younger Aunt May that we've seen in the past, which was, a good change of pace. Great performances by Tom and Robert Downey Jr. in that scene, that moment. And, he's going into his closet and he's trying to hide everything. All this kid wants was he did not want his aunt to find out that he is Spider-Man. That's it. That's his drive. You know what I mean? Like, just please don't tell my Aunt May, I don't want her to know about this. But Tony wanted him on the team, like you said. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So he recruits the 15-year-old, gives him his suit and stuff,
Yes.
and puts him. Where did they go? I knew Ant-Man was in the van.
Yeah, but okay, so Spider-Man just shows up at the hangar, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just kind of shows up.
Yeah.
So Tony just tells him to wait in the rafters for his cue,
Right.
and then yeah,
Okay. All right. So, all right, we talked a little bit about Steve and Bucky, but let's just wrap this up regarding their relationship. So, like you said, Steve noticed this person who actually was involved with the bombing or might have caused it, and knew immediately that was not Bucky, and he knows Bucky better than anyone, and that the Winter Soldier is under some type of mind control. And not only is Steve's drive is, first of all, we know that he does not want to be a part of the Sokovia Accords. He doesn't want to follow it.
yeah, of course not.
Right. And another reason why he won't follow is because he wants to save his friend's life. Right. So,
Because that's his dog.
exactly.
Like 80 years.
Right. So the government is after, police and the government is after this Bucky Barnes because he's wanted for murder. Steve is going to try to save him and find him first before he gets captured or killed by, by law enforcement. So he goes through this movie doing anything he can to save this man. Like he shows up right in the nick of time, gives Bucky the opportunity to escape. And that's it. He would spend the rest of the film protecting his buddy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something else. Now look, is there a villain in this movie?
Of course.
Okay,
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark's.
If anything, the
Yeah.
villain is Captain America. I think it's horrible that Captain America was willing to beat up Tony Stark because he loved his parents.
Well, no, geez, you're going too far out.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, right. Okay, we're not there yet, but I'm asking a question now. So, what are we like? Maybe 40 minutes into the movie now, or maybe up to an hour? Have we seen a villain? Well, okay, we have.
Yeah.
But all right, we're finding out more about who this person is. So it has to be Zero, right? Zemo, sorry, call him Zero. Helmut Zemo.
Yeah.
All right. You want to talk about him?
Yeah. So
Okay.
everything goes back to Sokovia. So he was elsewhere. His family was chilling in Sokovia, and obviously they died because the city like exploded and stuff. So he wanted to get rid of the Avengers for revenge purposes, and he figured the only way to do that is if they destroyed themselves, so take them apart from the inside out. So he dressed as Bucky and planted that bomb, and that killed T'Chaka. So now we all know, cat's out of the bag, it was Bucky.
Correct. Right. Now that's very interesting. Again, another person faced tragedy. So he lost his family.
Yeah. Everybody's going through it in this film.
Yeah, but that's what this film is about. I think that's the reason why this film succeeds so well. Even the villain, if he considers himself the villain, they say that villains don't even think of themselves as, doing bad things. They just do what they think is right. So here we have, Zemo, he wants revenge because he lost his family, his wife and children or child.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about our favorite moments of the film. Do you have any? I wrote down some of mine. Do you want to talk about your favorite moment, or is that towards the end? Like, do you want to start talking about what?
Fight.
Oh wow, yeah.
My favorite.
Oh man, can we get into that?
Of course.
All right, let's talk about that. Wow. The airport hangar.
So we got two teams, right? We got Team Iron Man,
which is
Tony, Rhodey, Natasha, Vision. Why is Black Widow on this team, by the way? She's not.
Well, you know what? She's wishy-washy because she's on the team, but yet she's helping the other side as well.
She's not agreeing with Tony Stark. Why is she on the team?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Natasha, Vision, T'Challa, and Peter.
Yeah.
And then we got Team Cap, which has Steve, Bucky, Falcon, Wanda, Hawkeye, and Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, can we talk about Clint? Okay, now wasn't Clint
Shortest
retired?
retirement ever.
What happened? Like he just came.
Lasted about 5 minutes.
Well, why did you think he returned?
I don't know. Maybe he just read the script and he knew he had to come back.
Okay, well.
So he showed up to Wanda Vision's apartment.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, you should join Cap." And Wanda's like, "Okay." And then she throws Vision through the floor, and then they leave.
Well, okay, but yes, you're right. he did retire and he came right back out of retirement, but I like the reason why he returned. To me, Clint came back because he wanted to save Wanda. Do you agree with that? Because Wanda was really just kept locked inside because she was a danger. I felt like Wanda was a prisoner, and Vision was the one who was actually watching over her. He would not let her out of his sight.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
You know,
He was like a prison guard in a sense.
yeah, this was interesting because, yeah, Wanda, why you can't keep Wanda down, all right?
Yeah, because she's just gonna throw you through the floor.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I know we were talking about the hangar scene, but I want to talk about this. This is very important. This is about character. We this story this film has plenty of action, but it also gives you moments of character driven development. And what I liked that we're seeing how much Vision adores Wanda. You don't want to talk about that.
Robot man.
Yeah, well, so yes, so he's there to protect her, but it's also a little bit more than that. He has some feelings for Wanda, which is why, you know, she can't get rid of him. So then here comes Clint to save the day, and it was not easy, but Wanda had to just
Vision could just face, so Clint looks like a fool,
Right.
shooting arrows at a ghost.
correct, right. But Wanda had to, take care of business. she just threw him down like, threw down through the floors, like 4 or 5 different floors, just to get rid of him for a few minutes. And so Wanda and Clint escape, but Vision, can't keep Vision down, so he shows up anyway. So go ahead. So back to the hangar.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ant-Man turns into a giant man.
Oh, this is
Empire
excellent.
Strikes Back. Yeah.
Yeah.
That really old movie.
Yes, that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back. That goes to show you how much Star Wars has influenced, the Russo brothers, at least, is very interesting. So yeah. So right, that was actually unbelievable. So we get this hangar scene. So it looked like something out of a comic book, right? So you have Team Cap versus Team Iron Man, right?
And just taking like a brisk walk.
Right? Yes.
And they start running at each other.
Right.
And then they jump in and they
yes.
shoot in the air.
It's fantastic. And the ones that can fly are flying. The ones that can't fly are running. And they're all coming together. And as soon as they get right in the middle, and then bim bam boom, they're throwing blows, and it's wonderful.
It's Tony wonderful. Got 3 flyers on his team.
Yeah.
And 4, you count Spider-Man. And Cap has 1.
Okay, is that true?
Falcon.
He only has Falcon?
Yeah, nobody else can fly. I think Wanda can get that's 2 feet off the ground, but
Well, that's one-sided. Okay. All right. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, Tony, Rhodey, Vision, and Peter can all get in the air.
Right.
I guess Cap and can jump.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not staying there forever.
Right. Now, all right, Scott Lang. So he was the last of the Avengers to join, and he came out, being Scott Lang, and
it's funny because it's like they drafted their picks, and Scott was the only option.
The last one.
Cat's like, oh my god, we'll take him.
Paul Rudd never.
He did go 6 for 6. You know what I'm saying?
Paul Rudd never disappoints, right?
He was great in this.
Oh, absolutely, because we had no idea we did, but then when he did it, it was just. He blew everybody's mind, how he was able to. Yes, right.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, boom, and he started fighting.
Yes,
as one does.
Yes.
Okay.
Lord have mercy, Vision.
Yes. So, talk about Vision.
Falcon and Rhodey are duking it out in the air, right? And Rhodey's calling out to his teammate, like, hey, can you help me? And Vision's preoccupied talking to Wanda. So he's like, oh my God, here. But he's not focused.
Right.
So he's aiming wild.
Yes.
Falcon dodges, and then he hits War Machine, knocks him straight out the sky.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought this point up. But again, it goes back to great writing. Like there's things that you see at the beginning and how it plays out towards later on in the film. So as I mentioned about how enamored that Vision is of Wanda, that he can't let her out of her sight, right? And if I'm remembering correctly, you can correct me. There's a moment where Wanda is injured and he is, going tending to her and see if she's okay. Yes, right, of course, yeah. Just making sure, are you okay, Wanda? Is there anything I can do for you? So of course he's distracted, right? And then when he's asked to do something,
He does not care about his own teammates. He's
Yeah.
just like, fine,
He-
shooting
he-
his beams wherever.
he got distracted. That shows how much he cares for Wanda. And
Paralyzed a man.
well, yes. And he paid for that. Yeah. So,
Falcon paid.
well,
Tony was more mad at Falcon than he was at Vision.
well, I meant as far as emotionally. I think Vision, because I remember when it happened. Okay, let's talk about this moment. So, right, you said that Rhodey is hit by friendly fire. Vision was not really paying attention, and he shot Vision down. He shot Rhodey down.
Yeah, he hit the ground hard.
Right.
Like his spine is shattered.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he is free falling, and that if we talk,
Tony and Falcon are trying to catch him,
Right.
and didn't work.
yeah, and we were talking about tragedy. Like, are we gonna lose one of the Avengers? And we thought we did with Rhodey. So he hits the ground, and then Falcon was the first one to get there, right?
Yeah,
To see if he was okay. And then when Iron Man got there, he got upset with
beamed
him.
him on sight. Which is funny because that wasn't even his fault. He
No.
dodged an attack.
No.
He was like, "Yo, Tony, I'm so sorry." He was like, "Shut up!" And
Right.
beamed him.
Right, and then knocked him out. But that was anger.
Shout out to my boy Sam Wilson for always being nice,
Yeah.
even when he gets beamed for it. You know what I'm saying?
And I at this moment, when that happens, like you're in this argument with someone, you're having this, whatever it is, like these two sides, and they're not getting along, and they're arguing with each other, and it comes to blows. I mean, it goes as far as you're battling each other. But then the moment when tragedy strikes, as someone in this civil war gets hurt or is killed, it stops everything, right?
Yeah.
Then you realize, well, what are we fighting for?
Why
What
were
do
they
we-
fighting?
Why are we doing this? And I think that's how Tony felt when he saw Rhodey hit the ground. He says, and that's why he was angry at Falcon, because Falcon was the person on the other side, right? So of course he's going to take it out on Falcon. But I think at that moment he felt, okay, you know what? All right, we're done here. Show's over. I need to take care of my buddy Rhodey.
Wait, now that I think of it, if Vision's beam did enough damage to completely shut down Rhodey's suit, what would it have done to Falcon?
Ooh, yeah, Falcon doesn't have that type of protection.
I mean,
Yeah.
that suit's pretty high tech.
Yeah.
I've seen Tony's suit survive some pretty crazy things. I mean, Avengers 1, Thor was hitting him with lightning, and all that did was charge him up.
Mhm.
So whatever was in Vision's beam that completely shut down and deactivated Rhodey's suit, I can't imagine what that would have done to Falcon.
Yeah, I don't know if Falcon would have survived that kind of fall.
Wow, maybe Vision was a real villain to this film.
Vision is not a villain. He just made a mistake, Keith.
He's always distracted by Wanda.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
See, I'm telling you, if
Let
the
me
two
explain.
of them would just both lock into the combat, if they were on the same team,
I hear what you're saying.
that's
Yeah.
a what if scenario. Imagine if Vision and Wanda were on the same team,
Yeah,
because then Rhodey wouldn't have got knocked out the sky. You know what I'm
I
saying?
absolutely agree with you. He, Vision was not focused, but
His mind was
that's
elsewhere.
yes, exactly, yes. And I just love the way how the story set that up. That we knew that Vision had his mind elsewhere. It was on Wanda without a doubt. And as soon as he saw that she was down and hurt, like nothing else mattered.
Yeah.
He wanted to make sure that she was okay. But everybody else, like, oh well, I don't care.
Vision Quest is coming out later this year, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're looking forward to that. At least I am. I don't think you are. I don't know why. You got something against Vision.
Look, I don't have anything against
Yes,
Vision.
you do. You have
I
something
don't have
against
anything
Vision.
against Vision.
Well, okay. Well, something's wrong here. Like you don't like Vision.
What did he do in Infinity War?
What did
He
Vision
got
do?
hit once, and the entire movie. he
Oh
had to have
no,
everybody else
no,
on the
no,
team
no,
protect
no, no,
him.
no! You're not going at the Vision in Infinity War.
Look,
Stop it!
just,
No,
think
no,
about it
Uh-uh.
for 1 second, right?
no way!
He
Don't
got,
do
he
that.
got stabbed once
No,
by Corvus Glaive, right? And he was weak for the rest of the movie.
Keith,
I know this
that's
is a wild argument, right?
That's not fair.
But just just think, right? What kind of protection was in his like android body that he got like hit once and he's weak for the rest of the film? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like Tony
But-
couldn't have given him some sauce.
Well,
Couldn't have helped him out.
didn't Vision sacrifice himself at the end of the movie?
Well, that's different. That part, that was good. That
Okay.
was, I respect him for that.
Okay.
But he wouldn't have had to do that, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, Keith. Okay. All right.
Back to Civil War.
Yeah, back to Civil War. Okay. All right. Now I have this moment, but I want to leave this to last. Is there any other moment you want to bring up? I do actually have another one.
You know what? Where was White Vision? It's been 5 years. Wanda crashed
This has
out.
nothing to do with
Wanda
Civil War.
crashed out, right? She was out there on the second Earth
Yeah.
killing people.
Okay.
And White Vision was just having the time of his life floating around. He could have helped her.
Well,
Just
I think Vision Quest will probably cover something.
Wanda's dropped a building on herself, so that ship has sailed, unfortunately.
Okay.
See,
All
this is
right.
my point. See, okay, let's get back to the movie
Yes.
at hand.
Yes. Let's get back. Okay.
Like a Vision diss track.
So before we talk about this moment, because this is the pinnacle, I loved the scene between T'Challa chasing after Bucky.
That was lovely.
Yeah, that was wonderful. I thought that was an incredible moment where they're running, they're jumping on a motorcycle, they're stealing cars, they're trying to catch up with each other. It's like a cat and mouse. That was wonderful. And all the while, Cap is still trying to save the Winter Soldier.
Did we say that Black Panther is a top 5 fighter in the verse?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, very powerful and very fast. Yeah.
That man can hit.
Okay. Any other moment before we get to this one?
Nope.
Okay, let's talk about it. All right. Okay. Iron Man versus Cap versus Bucky. Okay, so we're going to go back to talking about Zemo. Yeah. And you mentioned about his story, his drive, what he wanted. And you explained to me because of the tragedy that he experienced, that he wanted to get revenge on the Avengers by having them fight each other. Mm-hmm. Right?
So Zemo, in all his infinite wisdom, found that video of Bucky flipping that car and getting that super
from the very beginning. So the pre-opening scene.
Yeah. So this time we see the whole thing. Yeah. And it turns out that the people in the car are Tony Stark's mom and dad. Wow. And he's the one that killed him.
Wow.
And he asks Cap, "Did you know?" And Cap says yes. And he's like, "That's all I need to hear."
Mm-hmm.
And Steve's like, wait, just calm down. He was brainwashed. It wasn't him. And Tony's like, I know, but he killed my mom. And they start boxing. I've never seen anything like this.
The moment was unmatched. It felt like a wrestling match, where the two of them are actually 2-on-1. It was a very unfair fight.
Because, I know he's Iron Man, but at the same time, getting jumped by 2 super soldiers in a metal suit is not a fair fight.
And he was getting jumped while he was down. Iron Man was down. He was already at this point, I think he was losing, power from the suit. And he can barely stand up. And the two of them are just jumping him. And they're, exchanging blows, and they're also passing the shield along to each other.
I've never seen anything like this. This is so hateful.
It's a tag team.
I've never seen Captain America do this to any of his villains.
Yeah.
But the minute it's Tony Stark, all of a sudden he's passing the shield to his best friend. They're just swinging it around.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the fact that I think Bucky lost the momentum, they had him just Cap on one side, Bucky on the other. They jump at him, and he can't fight back because when he tries to block one, he gets hit by the other.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
So this was, of course, the most emotional moment in the film. And I wrote a quote down that Zemo said, and he says, "An empire toppled by its enemies can rise again, but one that crumbles from within, that's dead forever."
He's not wrong.
Amazing quote.
In most cases.
Right.
This one.
And then that's when he says Zemo plays that video recorded. The date was December 16th, 1981, the full video where we saw exactly what happened at the beginning of the film.
Wow.
And it was Howard and Maria. And as any child would have done if he was told that his parents were taken out by somebody else.
And then his best friend knew.
And
the
his
whole
best
time.
friend. Woo, man, it's just like I'm thinking about it now. It's just the betrayal
Lord have mercy.
that Tony must have felt.
From
I
Cap.
don't even know why Cap kept this a secret.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's his other best friend, but at the same time, like, you kind of owe him to tell him that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then the smackdown. And then how it ends where Tony is lying on the ground. He's on his back.
Arm off of Bucky, by the way.
Yes, he did do that. Right. Bucky got, he got his arm ripped off.
Every time I see him, he's losing an arm to somebody.
Yeah, right.
And
That's
it's
true.
always the metal one.
And then he just goes and just puts it right back on. Well, that was
So
after
this time it got,
Wakanda.
like,
Yeah.
completely,
Yeah.
wires and everything.
And then Cap is taking the shield and he is breaking that core,
His arc reactor.
right, and
Which is
cracks.
horrible.
Yes, and cracks it, and Tony is immobilized. He cannot move. And then Cap walks away, and Tony says to him, "My father made that shield. You don't deserve it." Cap threw the shield down and walks away with his best friend Bucky.
Lord have mercy.
That's
a horrible thing to do to somebody. Can you imagine? You find out, that your best friend killed their parents, right? You don't tell him. When he finds out, he's obviously mad. So you and your best friend beat him up with the shield that his father made for you.
Yeah.
And then when he says you don't deserve it, you just throw it on the ground.
Yeah.
And you walk away.
It's an incredible moment. It's what, when it means stakes, that's what this is.
I mean, good Lord,
Yeah.
Captain America. This is a serious and continuous lapse in his judgment.
Yeah. Very, very powerful.
What a guy.
All right. So then the movie doesn't end yet, so we still have more. So we see Rhodey in the hospital. He's learned to walk again. Tony is really focused on getting Rhodey back. And I love the banter. The two of them have this banter, and this is the moment when Stan Lee, the one and only, for Tony Stank. Yeah, there he is right here, Tony Stank.
That was hilarious.
That was pretty funny.
He's learning to walk again.
Yeah. Yes, he is. And then Steve writes Tony a letter. And then he says, well, you know what? I know we're talking about Tony was definitely betrayed. He was hurt. But Steve also realizes, okay,
he
hurt. He hurt Tony. And he's trying to make amends. I don't know if this letter was there to do that. Not quite, maybe, but he says to Tony, I wish we agreed on the accords. I know you're only doing what you believe in. That's all any of us can do. If you need me, I'll be there.
That's sad.
Okay.
Like, imagine after all that, your best friend writes you a letter and says, yeah, I wish we agreed, but if you need me, just call me, bro. I'll show up.
Right. Yeah. After I betrayed you, you need me, just call me.
After I beat you up and broke your suit, which is millions of dollars, just call me if you need my help.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I would never have let Captain America in my sight again if I was Tony.
And then you can understand now why in Avengers Infinity War, I don't think they had any scenes together.
Nah, because they were on different planets.
Yeah, they're on different planets. And that's because the two of them really weren't speaking to each other. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why. And it made perfect sense. And then what's also interesting is how they came together in Endgame because of more tragedy that took place, that involved the Avengers. So once again, when, the people that we love are close to us and that they're hurt or they're in trouble, the world stops. All we got to do is figure out how do we help them.
But the Avengers are always there.
Yeah. Yes, they are. They're always there. So as this is happening, this is his voiceover. We hear Steve's voice. He is on the raft, right?
Of course he is.
Where his team is in prison. But because he's Cap, he went in there and broke everybody out of prison.
What a guy.
That was Sam. That was Ant-Man was in there, so
Natasha was just elsewhere.
Yeah, well, yeah, she was, played the middle. So
I don't know why she did that, because she didn't really gain anything, did she? She's on the run from the government when the movie ends. So.
Yeah.
Shout out to Black Widow for, doing whatever comes to mind.
Well, I think Natasha would have preferred that we all work together. I think that was the point that she was trying to make, that, why are we fighting each other? This is not necessary. I know, look, if this is what you want, okay, I'll do it, but I don't agree with it. You know,
reasonable.
yeah. So that's where she stood.
Oh, yeah, and they shipped Bucky off to Wakanda.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was the post credit.
Yeah, and they call him White Wolf.
White Wolf. Yes.
So, you know,
Yes.
he's having the time of his life.
Yeah. So, of course, this movie, you know, for all of its glory, this is one of my top 5 MCU films, I believe now.
We did the ranking. I put this in S, and I stand by it to this day.
S meaning satisfactory, or
Super.
S super.
Like above
Okay, there you go. This movie was critically acclaimed, and it was also a box office bonanza.
$1.15 billion.
$1.15 billion worldwide.
Remember when superhero films would make $1 billion at the box office?
It's been a while.
Those were good times.
Yeah. So, you know, again, that's, I hope, you know, we want to have a conversation, you know, I hope this is, well, I asked you the question. I don't know. I'm going to ask you again. I feel that Captain America Civil War is the most important MCU film because I think this is setting the standard, like the storytelling, the characterization, the action is setting the standards of what the future Avengers film or future Marvel films are going to be.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
I think this is, well, I don't know about that. I think Infinity War is more important than Civil War, but I think an argument can be made
Sure.
for this being kind of the turning point for the MCU.
Okay. I like that. Infinity War is more important. Okay. I think it's Civil War, but hey, we want to hear your opinion. You know, what do you think? Do you think Civil War is the most important film, or do you think
The
it maybe
Incredible Hulk is the most important film?
There you go. Okay, was it Madam Web? Maybe could be the most important film. Like, does that count?
The web connects us all.
Yeah, or you know, a lot of people love Captain America: Winter Soldier. You know that maybe that's the most important film. But no matter, we want to hear.
The thing is the friends who made it along the way.
Exactly. So we want to hear your opinion. So that is our spoiler review. I always forget to say spoiler at the beginning, and I hope you know people already realize you know this is a 10-year-old movie.
This far, one, you probably already seen it.
Yes.
And two, I think you figured out it was spoilers about 30, 40 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But if you're just finding out, we're sorry.
Sorry. If you've never seen Civil War, oops.
Yeah.
All right. So
you're missing out.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. This was a fun episode. You know, we love this movie. Yeah. So we just want to hear your thoughts and opinions about the film. Tell me what are your favorite moments in the film. How do you like the reveal of the new characters, T'Challa and Peter Parker? Let us know.
Crazy calling them new.
Yeah, new to the films. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But
I'm old.
Yeah, they were brought to life by 2 of the most talented actors out there, you know. So let's talk about it. All right. Keith, where can people find us?
You can find us wherever you get your podcast. Socials are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fatherson Galaxy. Our website is fathersongalaxy.com, and our merch store is fathersongalaxy.myspreadshop.com.
Thank you, everyone, for us. Or if you're going to watch us later or listen to us later, great. Leave your thoughts, share your comments with us, okay? Until next time, take care, and we will see you again.